Good morning, welcome to Tristar Diggin. My name is Sam and I am glad you're here. We got a cool little project to do today, and behind me here is the 304, and if you notice there's no attachment on the end of the stick there. That's because we're going to put something brand new on it. Let's get it loaded up on the truck and then we're going to head to Oliver Springs, Tennessee to pick up and to hook up that new attachment. So let's go. Uh-oh, minor problem here. That deck is wet and this thing don't want to crawl up on it. Oh, come on now, let's go. Get up here. There we go. All right, I got the 304 on the trailer. We're headed out. I guess you can see that bright sunshine coming in my window there. It looks like a beautiful day, and it is. It's a pretty day out here today, but we got a tremendous amount of rain last night, which knocked me out of doing any dozer work that I'd planned for today. So it's a good day to head over there and see Mike, and Mike's already got this attachment already on his machine, so he bought two at the same time. Well, bought me one, bought him one, and so I guess he was a guinea pig getting all his hooked up. So this should be smooth as silk hooking this thing up today and getting everything plumbed in. One of the things we got to do on this machine, well, he had to do it on his as well, is put on a case drain. And this machine didn't come with that, but he has all the parts, and it's not that big a deal, he says. So we'll get that hooked up and let's head over there. Folks, I made it up here to Oliver Springs, Tennessee, and I'm going to trade my 304, which is on the trailer, for this one back here behind me. See, what the story is, what the deal is Mike and I went together when we bought two of these attachments that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But I got to thinking on the way up here, he's already got his plumbed in and everything hooked up, and I think it just makes sense to unload mine and just leave it here and take this one home with me. That'd save me some time. Yeah. And I won't have to have to worry about it.
Sounds like a great deal for everybody but me.
Everybody but you. What year model is your 304?
It is a 23 model. I got it in November of last year.
Yeah, that is a sweet little machine. We've been talking about it a little bit here this morning. So basically the same machine as mine. It's a 304. I think it's what, 10 inches narrower?
Narrower, yeah.
And 10 inches narrow. And this I absolutely love what he has on this machine here. And let me show you. I'll climb in here. And on this machine, he has stick steer. So what he was telling me is that you turn it on, there's a button you push here. And then this yellow button here puts it into stick steer. And then you can drive it just like a skid steer then. And that is really, really nice. I would love to have that. Biggest differences I see on the inside of this newer one, I really like those pedals, a lot better pedal configuration, nicer than what mine has. The control screen is a little bit different in mine, but all this other stuff is basically the same. The blade control is a little different. But other than that, the interior is the same. He said his radio was built into the screen here. My radio is built into this area up here. As far as the outside goes, I actually thought that it was bigger body-wise than mine, but Mike's saying it's actually smaller, and I guess it's because of the squareness and the corners of it that makes it look bigger. But now
the weight is really, I think this one will outweigh yours a little bit.
It will.
A few 100 pounds, but as far as width of it, they narrowed them up 10 inches, but you're not zero turning. You've got your counterweight back of your machine is going to swing outside your track width.
So in doing that, extended the length of the body of the machine. But and what he's talking about zero turn is on mine, I can turn and I stay within the outside of the tracks of mine. I don't have to worry about swinging into something with a tail. But this machine, like you said, does have the extended tail on it, and you got to be careful not to swing into stuff.
Yeah.
But oh wow, boy, you really got some good access in there.
They tried to make maintenance a lot better with them, make everything really easy to get through to, cleaning the radiators and condensers, and I mean, just your battery access right there. Everything's,
wow, I mean, you basically just opened up the whole side of the machine. That is some really good access. I thought mine was pretty good access, but man, that is nice.
And one thing they say, they went to these flat panel doors. So if you bend a door, it's just replace this.
Yeah.
Instead of
a
huge.
Yeah, that's I am impressed with that. That just really opens up the whole side of the machine. Well, that looks good. I like this machine. I really like that stick steer on it. But anyway, if I can get this one loaded up, we'll probably see it on the channel. But I don't know if he goes to the bathroom or something. We'll probably just switch him out and head out. All right, let's talk about what we're going to do today, and we'll go ahead and show you the attachment that we're going to do. Well, first let's talk about what we're going to do to my machine, and he's already got his done, so we'll just kind of look at that right quick and give you an overview of what we're going to do.
These are Flail mowers is what we bought, and they have to have a case drain line, which it allows the excess oil inside the case of the hydraulic motor to be able to exit out without building pressure and blowing the seals in the motor. And it also helps the hydraulic motor, to run cooler. So you have to put that case drain line in. Caterpillar sells a kit for it, but I worked with a friend of mine to have the hoses made and fittings and everything. Standard Auto Parts in East Knoxville, Barry and Craig Light made up the hoses for us, but it's basically a 3/8 quick connect here, just like your main fittings, except it's a smaller 3/8. It runs the length of the boom, and just simply zip tied it to another line. Once you get here, it's just about the only difficult place in it is you have to make this S turn.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
To go back through there, and you take this bracket off right here, feed the line. Wasn't too bad at all. But then it's easy to come into here. This is the line, this middle fitting right here, and it just dumps that oil back into the main hydraulic tank here. So
basically it just protects the motor, the hydraulic motor on the attachment itself, to keep it from blowing out seals.
Yeah.
And this is
that's your drive motor. So pressure will build inside this casing without this. They've got it labeled as drain port.
Yeah.
Without that case drain, pressure will build in here and blow a seal out this way. So that just lets that, but it helps also to cool the motor and lubricate the motor better.
All right.
That oil coming into the case.
And this one is Mike's here, and he's already got that, and he's been using it already. And we'll talk about it a little bit more, but there were some modifications done to the plate when we get ready to install mine. We'll talk about the modifications we did to that, or that he had done to it. Tell us what that is. What kind of mower is this, and what's its use?
So it is a flail mower. It's made on the same concept as a mulcher. It's just not as heavy duty. It has swivel flails on the bottom, and when we get one of them on here, we'll turn it up and get a little better look at exactly what it does. But this thing is turning because now it is belt drive here. It has a transmission, so it is turning some high RPM. When you let the pressure off of it, it spins for a while before it stops. So you can, the specs on it say you can cut material to 4 inches with it, but I've put about 5 hours on this one right now. No problems, and I cut up to about 6 inches.
Now, I saw one stump that there was about 10 inches.
Yeah.
He tried it out on one big.
Cheated a little bit on that one, but I mean, if you take your time, you don't want to take the machine all to pieces, but if you take your time, you can cut stuff right on down.
When we get back there in a minute, I'll show you that stump that he ground down with. It's pretty impressive, the size stump that it did. But this is a really good-sized flail mower for the 304, and Mike did all the research on this, and he picked out the model and everything that we needed. We actually was going to get one a little bit bigger. I think it was 6 inches or 8 inches longer, but I think now we're pretty well pleased with the size of this one and the weight of it. So it's going to be a really good. It's really going to be a really good tool for Mike and for me on what I did.
These weigh 680 pounds according to their specs, and with that on this 304, I could reach over the side like the machine's setting, and not, you know, tip up and get light in the rear of it. I was able to work up high. I really think that was
Wasn't tippy at all over the side.
No.
Okay. And you know, from the channel earlier in videos, I had the Cat 308, and I bought a pre-knot mulcher with it. I ended up selling that mulcher with the 308. I really needed, and a lot for my own use, a mower like this to kind of take care of some work around the farm and stuff that I need to do personally. But then also, I'll probably do some jobs with it, and it'd be a really good size machine for like going around ponds and ditch banks and over the top of fence lines. And what these things are really good for is reaching across a fence and getting across a fence where, you know, a regular mulcher or a regular mower on a skid steer you wouldn't be able to do. So we're gonna go up here and get the machine off the trailer, and we're gonna get started hooking this thing up. Okay, there's been a few changes in the plans. We're gonna take a few minutes. We're gonna eat breakfast. We're gonna eat a biscuit this morning, and then we're gonna get started. All right, we started breakfast there, and then we was eating outside, and Mike said, we're gonna have to move into mission control. So I didn't know where mission control was. We're gonna take a little tour of mission control and see what Mike's doing. He also said he had a patent on this garage door entrance right here, and I couldn't be copying that or trying to sell that to anybody. So there you go. We're gonna move in here to mission control. What are you doing?
This is where I sit and watch my favorite Tristar videos. My favorite ones are the ones I'm in.
He's got Tristar digging on right now. Look at him. This is the video where Mike come out and helped me install that septic system, and a crash course on installing a system. Well, he got this thing set up pretty. Got a heater setting in here.
Yeah, there's the wood stove. So.
Got his wood stove setting here.
So yeah, in the winter time when it's too wet to get out and work and everything, come in here and stay warm and watch Tristar digging.
Oh, that's funny stuff right there. All right, we're gonna eat these biscuits, and then we're gonna get to putting this mower together. This baby stretched out now. We got the stick and the boom stretched out, and we're going to start running this cable. And Mike's already got the fittings and everything hooked on this thing. This should go fairly quick, I hope. Now we got to keep, one thing we got to keep a close eye on is this right here, because I actually acquired that. I wouldn't say stole.
That's nice. That is a nice shackle.
So I actually acquired this from Mike, and we got to keep an eye on him, because he might try to take that back. But I got a trick for him though, because I've actually bent it, and I tried to take it out the other day. That pin won't come out, so that's pretty safe.
I'm surprised it's not welded.
All right, Mike said one of Tristar Diggin's fans was coming around the corner. So who is this, Mike?
This is my granddaughter, Emerson, and Emerson is a MME site prep operator.
Is she?
She loves the excavator, but when she heard Sam was coming today, she said, I want to come down and meet Sam, Pawpaw. So here she is. She lives next door to me, and she hangs right in there good with me.
She got a good looking hat on.
Got a good hat on.
MME Site Works. You got your job already, don't you? All right, we are got that hose stretched out there. We're going to run it across the stick and the boom, and then we've got to get in here. And my plug's right in there. Okay. Do you see that?
Yeah.
I wonder.
We may have to have Emerson to get that out.
So an interesting technique on putting in plumbing into the hydraulic system like that is you can put some vacuum on the reservoir right here and pull positive pressure, and it'll just pull air through that plug when you take it out. Except for Mike, when he did that, he made that fitting too secure. I think you, how much?
I taped the vacuum hose on my inlet there, and I sucked probably 2 quarts of oil out of the hydraulic tank. So I was just a little bit too vacuum, I guess.
So he sucked a couple quarts out there. But anyway, that's ultimately where we're trying to get to. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a little plug right in there. Let's get started on this, and we'll get this thing strapped on here and see if this machine's gonna work. Let me show you. This is the machine that I have right here. Yeah. So that's ultimately what we want today to accomplish, is have that on the Cat 304 and spinning. That's what we're going for today. This is this plate right here is adjustable, so it can move as far as this hole here or as far as this hole here, so you can move it. And Mike's is, I think, scooted back a little bit farther. We might actually even move it back here. That would give me more reach. I don't know, we're thinking about that. Oh, something else I wanted to mention on that. Mike, will you move that plate back and forth and show how that works?
It's pretty heavy, but yeah, that allows.
The way that that's designed is that when you're going across the ground, that thing will float across the ground by the movement of that plate. When I saw that on the attachment that Mike had picked out, I really liked the way that that works. So my plan is, since Mike's already done this once, he's already done on the machine, my job today is just to supervise. I'm gonna watch him put this on there. I'm gonna see how long I can get away with it anyway.
Here's something else we got through the advice of one of my Caterpillar buddy mechanics. That's an inline hydraulic filter.
Oh, that's great.
That we're gonna be putting in. This hose just simply going to the tank, coming from out on the stick. And it has that filter.
Oh, that's good.
So
that's, you can clean that filter. You don't. It's not necessarily replaceable,
yeah,
right?
but you can replace it for about I think about 15 bucks.
Okay.
Online. But the best thing is, if you were to have a malfunction in your motor, your drive motor on the cutter, this is going to catch the metal instead of dumping it straight into your hydraulic.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
That's a plus.
Like I say, that was an advice from one of the Caterpillar mechanics. So.
Yeah.
So that's
a good deal. All right. What's that do? I'm gonna ask him a lot of questions. What's that do? What's this do? What's that do? What's that do?
Yeah. So we need this.
That dirt ain't gonna hurt that, is it?
No, it won't hurt it. That filter will catch it. We're gonna have to increase this hole size to be able to let that go in.
Then you saw that fitting there. That's got to go down the inside this, so we're gonna.
Yeah, this is called a bulkhead.
Yeah.
And go on the bracket.
All right, that's the next project, is to get that hole a little bit bigger. And what's your method of madness for that?
Well, a hammer. No, I actually don't have anything to bore it out. So what I done with mine was just took my sawzall, sawed notches in that hole, and took a sanding wheel on a drill and increased the size. So
this might be interesting. Okay, so Mike come over here the first time, and I said, "Where you going?" He said, I need a battery." So he come over here without a battery. But I showed this saw on the channel before, but let's take a look at that saw again. That is a neat looking sawzall. I like that. I'll probably end up with that before the end of the day. So here we go. So watching this technique right here is kind of similar to me doing that septic system the other day when I tried to cut that hole with the sawzall. Yeah, that didn't work either. This looks like it's gonna work though. All right, time to see if it's gonna fit. Oh no, it likes a little bit more. Actually likes a lot, don't it? So I thought about, while Mike was cutting that, I thought about this progressive bit that I had in the truck. I brought it up here to him and he says, "You actually had a tool?" I think I'm offended by that.
I worked with him before, I know.
But that's actually working pretty good. All right, we're making some progress now. He got the fine sander on it now, getting her all trued up. It kind of looked like an egg there for a minute, but I think he's getting her rounded out now.
Looks like we meant to do it.
Look at there. Oh yeah, it's in there.
Now I don't remember what we do.
So there's different type of fittings, and some require compression as far as tightening them down. Some require tape. So do you know the difference? I don't. You just tape everything?
No, one of them's called a. So that end will have to have tape. This end is called a JIC. You see, it's a flared fitting that does not require.
What seals it up is this tapered in here.
Yes.
Screws into the other side and seals it up. But
yeah, and so that actually don't need tape.
I usually put tape, glue, some of the Indian head stuff, and
one thing, this is low pressure, so we don't have to.
That's true too. Right?
Worry a whole lot about a leak on this, but you don't want to make, anytime you're doing hydraulic, you don't want to get that Teflon tape over the end of the fitting and get it.
That's a good point.
In the hydraulic system. So.
That's a real good point.
Now we'll get the appropriate wrenches.
Crescent wrench. People fuss about crescent wrenches, but they fit everything.
They do.
One size fits all.
Yeah.
We have successfully, well, Mike has successfully got this fitting on here. That's in place now. And this is the other style fitting that we talked about. What do you call it? JCB fitting?
JIC.
JIC fitting.
You're thinking about the hog.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the hog JCB. What am I thinking? So now then, that requires no tape. What he's going to do now is just take a wrench and tighten that down. And like we mentioned, it's compression that actually holds that together and actually stops it from leaking. I'm thinking that's probably the easy part, folks. Now then, we're gonna run this cable. Gonna run this hose down through there and zip tie it together. And then we're gonna move back into this little S section here where we gotta snake this hose down through there, around this, back into there, up into here, and then back into that plug right there.
And we've got a special bonus price on these zip ties today. They're $10 a piece.
$10, that's a bargain. $10 $10 a piece.
I think we're going to need around 50 of them.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Hold them for me.
All right, Emerson's helping here. She is the holder of the zip ties.
Yeah.
Be careful when they're $10 a piece. Is there a certain torque limit you want to?
Yeah, you hear my elbow click.
Okay, when your elbow clicks, it's tight enough, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get this hose hooked up here, and then when we get into the part where Mike might use some bad words, we'll come back when we get ready to snake this through there. All right, Mike got that hose run down through there, and now he's cleaning up a mess. What's all that stuff right there?
I don't know who's put that in there.
Y'all know I'm not afraid to grease stuff, but he cleaned up a wad of grease right there. It's probably a whole cartridge of grease.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely grease it, that's for sure. All right, so far I've done what I said I was gonna do. I was mostly gonna watch.
Yeah.
So I did get a little bit of grease on my arm a while ago. I'm not sure how that happened, but thank you. Oh, now it comes to the hardest part. I don't know if that's gonna be the hardest part or trying to get that fitting in there.
Yeah, that's where we'll let Emerson get her hands.
I wonder if we took this off. I mean, I bet we ought to do that.
Yeah.
Take that off. There's this bolt right there, and there's a bolt up there, and that shield will come off. All right, Mike, I got it. There you go, buddy.
You probably need to take a break now.
I know, I'm broke sweat. I'd help you, but I gotta hold the camera, so.
I thought that's what we had Emerson for.
Oh yeah, here you go, Emerson. Where does it need to go to?
This was easier on mine.
Was it? Or are you just saying that?
It didn't have none of the grease in it like this in it.
What are you doing over there?
That's good.
Yeah, that worked pretty good, and took that panel off right there that was covering that hydraulic. You know, I'm glad to see that too, because that's where my hydraulic filter is. That's going to have to be changed soon. So we got that panel off now, and that plug we need to get to is right in there. It's going to be a lot easier to get to. That's turning out to be a challenge to get that hose routed through there. What we've decided to do is Mike's ripped my rubber floor mat out. And he asked me if I ever cleaned it, and I said no, I probably ought to. I will get the vacuum before I put that rubber mat back in there and vacuum all that dirt out. But there is a panel right here that if we take that off, we think that we can get a hand in there to pull that hose right up through here. So we're gonna take that off and see. Oh yeah, that's the access right there, I believe. Now, if I can see it, I'll grab it. There it is. Is that all the hose we got?
Oh, we got.
Oh, we're in trouble. We're in bad trouble.
Yeah. Who measured this?
That would be me. We run into a little problem, and somebody didn't measure this correctly. That would be me. so we're about, we need about 2 more feet to get from where it's at in there, under and around through here, plugged in. What we're going to do, the plan is to take this hard work that Mike did, take that loose, and just pull that hose back as far as we need it, and then just zip tie it there for temporary. That way we can run the machine and make sure everything's going to work. And then, like I said, either get a short piece of hose and put that back together, or may just leave it zip tied to that hose there. All right, let's take Mike's work loose here and get that thing pulled out of there. I told him it looked too short when he started to put it on there. Not really.
I heard that.
Now this is a quality piece of machinery here. This and a crescent wrench is all you need. Somebody's gonna be bleeding before this is done. Now that we got that bulkhead fitting out there, we can pull this hose back, and we can get what we need to hook back in here to this filter hose, which is, where did it go? Yeah, it's a little short piece of hose right here. This is what's going to connect to that plug when we get ready to take it out, like that, and then, well, actually the other end, like that, and then we'll screw that filter onto this end, and then the hose that we're running through here will hook into the other side of that filter. All right, and just get a little update there of how we're staying in the shade. Mike, every time the sun comes out and we we lose our shade, Mike says, back it up just a little bit more, and we'll keep it in the shade.
Because you see who's working.
I'm actually sweating too. It's hot. It's getting humid, but yeah, we're gonna try to keep this machine in the shade most of the day as much as we can. Hey Mike, you know what time it is? It's Dr. Pepper time. Hey, I missed my 10 o'clock break this morning. You worked me right through my 10 o'clock break, so. He's interrupting my Dr. Pepper break, but what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take this shop vac right here, and we're gonna pull vacuum. I think we mentioned that already, pull vacuum on this tank, and that way when he pulls that plug, it'll suck air through that rather than letting oil leak out. Let's try this and see what happens. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
All right, here we go. Tell me more or less. What are we gonna do if the power goes off? Are you about done?
I'm having to turn the corner of the
My Dr. Pepper's getting hot.
I know you're in the screen there.
No, my Dr. Pepper's getting hot. All right, here comes the test. There ain't no oil in it this time, Mike. Okay, mission accomplished. We got that hose on there, which is this one. It's hooked in, plumbed into the hydraulic tank. And then Mike is gonna put this filter on, and then we'll hook this hose coming from the stick where the attachment will hook up. As Mike mentioned earlier this morning, there's actually a cat mechanic had recommend this filter. This is not a cat filter. This is a Bobcat filter, you said?
Yeah, it's for a Bobcat machine, but...
Oh, you spilled a little bit. That's gonna cost extra. So he found that filter online, and it's actually a Bobcat filter, but you just plumb it in. It don't matter if it's Bobcat or cat, it's still gonna work. Now it's just a matter of going back. Everything is hooked up, plumbed up, tightened up. Now then, Mike said this was the hardest part on his machine, was getting all these hoses back in there, and this rubber saddle that goes around each one of those hoses. We'll get those back. I said Mike will get them back around. I'm just gonna watch. We'll get all this put back together, put that metal shield on there, and then what's next, Mike? We're gonna hook up the coupler on the attachment. Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, we got everything buttoned up. Now then, my two-way valve, one-way valve has got to be changed over, and that thing is usually a pain. So Mike said he's gonna let me break it. I don't know why that thing won't go. There we go. All right, there we go. I did it, I didn't break it.
You should ever need it. Got these two mowers, but they came with, this mounting plate was for a 305 size machine. So I've got a good friend up the road, Poplar Creek Sawmill, Jeff Hollis, and he also has a little fab shop. So what Jeff done was he had to shorten these ears. You can see here where he's cut this part off, cut it out here. This had to be like 7 13/16 center to center pin. Now these pins were 45 millimeter for a 305. So Jeff put the pins on the lathe.
Oh.
He was able to just turn the center down.
I see that, yeah.
And so these are down to 40 millimeter, which is the 304 size. And he got everything welded back up, and he done mine the same way. And I've actually already hooked this one on my machine to just make sure it worked.
Okay.
So.
Yep, good deal.
He done a good job on these.
Yep, and what Mike and I talked about, if that wasn't gonna work, we were just gonna buy ears and buy a piece of flat plate, and which would have cost us more money to have bought the ears, bought the flat plate, and then had it all welded together and drilled the hose. So that worked out really well for us, and we really appreciate him doing that and taking care of it for us. Now we're gonna take this up here. I'm gonna let Mike carry that because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna mount it to this plate that's on the mower here. And as Mike said, this plate actually come with the mower. There's a lot of times, especially when I bought the Prenoth mulcher, when I bought it, that plate did not come with it. And that cost me quite a bit of money to have that fabbed up to fit the 308. So I was really excited to know that came with it. We did have to do a little modifications on it, but it didn't cost us a whole lot to do that, which that's good. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. We'll hopefully get this thing spinning. We are making the final connections here. We're going to connect the flat face couplers. Say that 2 or 3 times. That's hard to say. Flat face couplers to these hoses. Get them tightened down. Get some tape on them so they don't leak. And then we think we have the pressure side of the excavator figured out best we know. We're just going to kind of roll the thumb a little bit, make sure it's going to go in the right direction, because we definitely don't want to run that motor in the wrong direction. We'll make these couplings.
It won't run in the wrong direction, it'll just lock.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you don't want to take a chance of tearing it up.
All right, so we will get these connections made. We'll get the excavator hooked up to it. And then I think we're gonna go for the spin, see if we can make it roll. And that's a good point to talk about is what Mike just mentioned there. When you go to hook up hydraulic connections and it's too hard to get up there, there's pressure on the lines, and show you the way to do that. I learned this from somebody else on YouTube, is all you do is go in here and turn the key on, just like that. Don't start it. Drop down your activation, your arm for activating your hydraulics. And then all you have to do is roll the thumbs, and that will relieve any pressure that's on the system. Very easy, and it works good. I'm glad I got you around. That one was easy.
You either have to reach and get that one or set it down.
All right, here, you can be the cameraman. Let me earn my keep here. Uh-oh. There we go. All right, we are ready, got everything hooked up, and we're gonna see if it'll spin. Okay, you saw there, it turns the right direction. I'm gonna move out here a little bit and
Take it up here and cut with it.
yeah, Mike said we'll take it up here and cut with it. What I want to show you now, we hadn't showed you this yet, are these knives, I guess you call them. Different than a mulcher, where a mulcher has a fixed tooth on the drum itself. These have these swinging teeth that allow you to, when you hit something, they can fly backwards. And that's why they're not as tough, really, as the fixed teeth are on a brush cutter, or actually a mulcher. Let's, oh, I didn't know that. That's got the little guards too that let stuff hit it. I think what the deal is now, Mike's want me to clean this property up for him. I think I got hoodwinked on this one, folks. But we're gonna run up here and try this thing out, and we'll see how it works. All right, we're up here in Mike's woods now. He told me there's about 1.5 acres back through here he'd like to get cleaned up, but I think I'm just gonna clean up this little corner right here. We're gonna get this thing up here and fire it up, and I am really curious to see how well it's gonna tackle this privet in here, bushes, and then some of this bigger stuff. Let's see what happens. Mike's coming around this corner here and doing a really good job with it, and he was up there cutting that tree limb off. That machine is going to be ideal for cutting tree limbs away from fence lines, ditch lines, because generally when you're up in the air trimming trees along, like I was just mentioned there, it's going to be small branches. You're not going to be really cutting any big branches off of that. You're just kind of cutting back the canopy, so it's going to work really nice for that. And it's doing an outstanding job on that privet. One thing I noticed too is Mike's, he's fully extended at times over the side of the machine, and it's not even really tippy. And he's on down a little bit of a downslope too. So that is a really stable machine and a good size mulching head or a good size flail mower head for this machine. The weight distribution is really good. Well, Mike, what'd you think compared to yours?
Doing good.
Yep. Well, it does a fantastic job cleaning that up.
You can clean up really good.
Yeah, that looks really good.
The way it cuts is the reason I didn't go with a brush cutter, bush hog type brush cutter, because of those open end cutters.
Yeah.
You sling, if you pick
Right.
them up off the ground, you sling a lot of debris in both
Right.
directions. With these, you can work up close to, you know, a structure of any kind and don't have to worry about, not throw anything back at you operating.
Yeah. That is the thing about the brush cutters. They throw stuff everywhere. And I noticed even I was probably standing a little too close to you sometimes trying to film. But anyway, there was nothing even remotely coming back at me. Wasn't too wise being where I was at times, but I think overall it's going to be a great machine, and I appreciate Mike helping me get this thing hooked up. The 304 back on the trailer, and Mike didn't take a bathroom break all day. So I didn't have a chance to load his instead of loading mine. We got the 304 on the trailer now. We'll get this thing chained down, and we're going to head back to my house. But I really appreciate Mike. Mike is the one spearheaded this whole thing. He ordered these attachments and got all the fittings and all the hoses. I didn't really do anything except showed up and watched Mike work. So big thanks to Mike for doing that. I think probably investment-wise, I think the machines were like $3,000 a piece.
Yeah, so, you know, we're looking at $3,300 maybe,
So
something like that.
Hoses and fittings and everything, bracket and everything.
Changed out, and yeah, probably something like that.
Too, but about $3,300 is what we've got each invested in this machine, and they will easily pay for themselves in a short time with this work. I'm really impressed with the 304. I was kind of wondering about this small machine, whether or not it could handle a mulcher or a flail mower or a brush cutter. That's set aside now. I'm really impressed with what it did. Now, granted, it's not the 308, 313, a 320, anything like that, but it does a really good job for what it's designed for. And want to thank Mike's friends too that helped us out.
Yeah, Barry and Craig Like, Standard Auto Parts in East Knoxville here in East Tennessee. They've had that store. It's family owned since 1957. Two brothers that own it. They made up all of our hoses and fittings, so big shout out to them. And then Jeff Ollis with Poplar Creek Sawmill. Jeff has a small fabricating shop, so he's the one that done turned our pins down and shortened our ears back for the hookup. So a big shout out thank you to Jeff for doing that. He done a great job on it.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. That kind of helps things go smoother when you got people that know what they're doing and know what to get us when it. And also the guy at the cat dealership that gave us information, that gave Mike the information on the filter. Really good information for that. So I appreciate you watching.
I gotta thank one more person.
All right.
Gotta thank my #1 operator that helped us all day today.
Who's that #1 operator?
That is Emerson Miller, my oldest granddaughter. And she hung with us all day because she wanted to meet Sam. She loves watching Sam's videos, especially if Pawpaw's on them. So thank you, Emerson.
It looks like she's fits in that excavator pretty good too. She might make you a good operator.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's a lot of fun up here working today with Mike. Of course, we go back and forth with each other and have a good time, but hey, thanks, God bless you, and I appreciate you watching. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Just a little bit of bonus footage, bonus video for the end of this video of a job that I've been at several times before. You saw me dig out this basement to build a gravel driveway. Matter of fact, the driveway video is one of the I think it's the second most watched video on the channel. It's like 277,000 views now. So appreciate that, appreciate y'all watching and helping the channel and subscribing, liking, commenting, all the things that you do to help. But this job, let's take a look at it. It is finished now. The folks are here to do seed and straw, and it turned out nice. So as you remember from a video, the dug out the basement, the driveway as I just mentioned, but now then all this is finished. I did the retaining walls, got that done, and I put in gutter drains and foundation drains to the house and ran those all the way out here in the field so there wouldn't be any issues with erosion or wet areas in the yard. And man, that was a job getting all that out through here. Also ran a water line from up there where that white truck sat, brought it around through here and over here to where her dog houses are going to be. Got that water line in, but this turned out absolutely nice. I brought in a bunch of topsoil from my house over there where I dug out that area and built the shop, put the concrete floor in. So all that topsoil you saw me dig out of there sometime back, I brought over here and dressed up this yard and got it looking really good. So that gives us just a little bit of look at this job here that's finished. I know folks like to go back and look at jobs after they've been done. So let's get in the message. What I want to talk about in the message is about connections. You know, in that video that you just saw, there had to be connections made for that flail mower for it to actually work. There had to be a hydraulic line put in to get the flow of hydraulic fluid to that mower to make it actually work. And you can't do that without the connections. So the connections that I want to talk about today is the connections that we have between heaven and earth. And that connection is through Jesus Christ. Without the foundation, without that connection, there is no eternal life. There is no home in heaven. Because Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. There's no way to the Father except through him. And it's through the sacrifice that he made on the cross that we have that restored fellowship and that restored connection with the Father because of what he did on the cross. In John 3:16 it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." And through that we know that that's the only way. That's the only way to heaven, is through that sacrifice that he made. So I hope you've done that today. I hope you've placed your faith and trust in him and you have that connection. You have that eternal connection with the Father through the Son, through the sacrifice that was made, because that's the only way. That will save your soul. That will guarantee you a home in heaven. The Bible says he's going away to prepare a place. If he goes away to prepare a place, he will come back again and receive us to himself, that where he is, we shall be also. So do that today and make that connection permanent. Make it eternal. Place your faith and trust in him. God bless and thanks for watching.